This video details the printing of the second of the two main parts of the PiTrac enclosure, which is the base box on which the tower part mounts. We're about to print the PiTrac base box, which the tower section sits on. The base box also holds the power supply. This is one of the more difficult pieces to print successfully with PiTrac, so we're going to do a couple of preparatory things here with our printer. First, 99%, actually 91% isopropyl alcohol. We're going to make sure that the plate is really clean because this is a very tall piece, and because it's a tall piece, and because it doesn't have a whole lot of surface area on its base, it can be a little wobbly and unstable. So we're going to clean everything off with alcohol, and we're also going to use some glue stick. The print area is going to be basically right here, so we're going to just glue stick that portion. Usually what I've done with this glue stick is I'll preheat the bed, not all the way to print temperature, but at least high enough that it's pretty warm. That seems to help the glue stick flow better onto the surface and helps it dry a little more quickly as well. While we're waiting for that to heat up, a couple of other things I want to note. First of all, the base is going to come all the way up to about right here, which means it's very tall relative to the rest of the printer. For that reason, you're going to want to make sure that the filament is coming from a point fairly high above the print and also fairly centered. If the filament is coming out down here and the print head is this close to where the filament is exiting its guide, there will be too much tension and generally the filament will break, or the print head will think that there's some other error. So you want to make sure that the filament is exiting the guide pretty high. Other than that, we've preheated the print plate right now, at least warm, so I'm going to stop the preheat process, turn that off, and then we're going to apply the glue stick in two steps. First, we're going to apply this sort of horizontally here, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going well beyond where I expect the plate to actually sit. You don't want to do too much touch up here because what can happen is the glue stick can build up, or little globs can, like right there, little globs can appear, and that can create problems with the print. Basically, you just want to apply it in this direction, touch up this little spot right here, and then wait for that to dry for a couple minutes, and then we're going to go vertically in this direction just to make sure we've got a good, hopefully level coating of glue stick.
Now we'll do another hopefully smooth application vertically. And the point of this is just to get a consistent and complete and hopefully smooth application of the glue stick. Again, this is a very tall piece, so we really want to make sure that glue is well applied so that the piece will not break free in the middle of the print, which has happened.
Here is a quick little time-lapse video of printing the base box. In real life, it takes about 8 to 9 hours to print, so it's a big print, and you want to make sure you have plenty of filament. Next, we're going to print the base box side cap, which finishes the right side of the base box and provides a mounting point for the power plug. That takes care of printing the end cap here show how this is going to ultimately interface with the main body of the base box. We'll take care of some of this material here in just a moment after we've printed the light shield. We printed out the base box. The next step is going to be to remove the supports and the brim around the bottom of the main body. The light shield doesn't need any work. I find these deburring tools are pretty helpful getting the brims and any additional flash removed. It's a pretty simple little device. Just has a little blade here. Come along like this to remove anything that shouldn't be there. So the brim just requires a little pull. Most of it comes off like that. And then it's going to leave a bit of an edge here, and that's where the deburring tool really shines. Usually just one or two passes is enough. You don't want to go too far, or it creates kind of an unsightly white edge where you've dug into the plastic. After a while, you kind of get a good feel for what you need to do to make the edge, remove the edge without cutting in too much. Takes care of the lower part for the most part. This one side here is giving me a little bit of trouble. Let's see if I can get that a little smoother. That's better. And then there's some internal supports that are a little hard to get to. Usually a screwdriver or something like that will do it. So there's a support here. Problem is some of these supports are, I don't know if you can see this easily, or kind of want to go inside the case, and unfortunately they're kind of hard to get to there, but it's sort of the nature of the game. You should have pretty clean edges once you get rid of the supports. Again, it's just a question of usually getting it started. Obviously, if you can pull it outward, that'll help a lot. May need to get some pliers so you can get a little more purchase on the remaining bits. Okay, so we've got everything here. That looks fairly clean. This hole right here is for wires that come up toward the tower from the power supply. And these two slots here and here are used to get access to LED strips that will help light up the T-ball. You may or may not need these depending on how you're doing your lighting. In any case, this looks pretty good. The only thing we need to do on The end cap piece really is just this one little section here. Which wraps around. Again, a pair of needle nose pliers or a vice grip, or even just your fingers is usually enough to take care of these little bits of support. All right, with that done, we can test fit the end cap and make sure that it's working. That looks pretty good. Got a little bit extra plastic here. Let's fit the light shield. This can sometimes be a little tight, but seems to be pretty good here. Okay, so there's our base box, and of course the tower will then mount with these 4 holes into these countersunk holes here. So this is ultimately what we're going to have. For right now, however, we're probably going to start just working with the tower and the base separately.